Today on VolleyDons Weekly, starring head coach Ryan Rock-Parat, we'll talk about the IPFW men's volleyball team's first conference win against McKendree on Friday, as well as our loss to Ohio State on Saturday, both at home at the Arnie Ball Court. Then we'll visit with sophomore libero and setter Max Hansen and talk a little bit about our upcoming season and his experiences on the team. And finally, we'll bring back head coach Ryan Rock-Parat to talk about our next two conference matches against Ball State, one on Tuesday and one on Friday. See you soon. Welcome back, everybody, to VolleyDons Weekly. I'm your host, assistant coach J.W. Kiekefer. We're here with head coach Ryan Rock-Parat. And to start, let's do a quick thank you to our sponsors, IAB Bank, Indiana Physical Therapy, Molten, O&E, and Pizza Hut. Welcome back to the show, Coach Parat. How are you doing this fine afternoon? It's rainy a little bit today, but it's actually warm out for the first time all winter.
I'm only happy when it rains. I'm only happy when I'm calm.
Are you going to serenade the audience today? Is that all we're going to do?
Actually, that'd be a great show. Wouldn't that be?
I don't think they tune in for that.
Listen, I can sing a lot of great. I used to be in the choir once.
You do talk about how you're a karaoke champion all the time.
I am the king of karaoke. The king of karaoke. By the way, you forgot to thank our executive producer.
Our executive producer,
Cameron Smolsky.
Yeah. If you want to do that now, go ahead.
Yeah, I grew up on a street in Canada called McKay Avenue. And one street east of McKay was Cameron. That's what I was telling everybody.
Well, fun fact. I guess that's your fun fact. So thank you, Cameron, for all that you do to help us make the VolleyDons Weekly Show possible and make both of us look good, as tough as that may be. So
very tough for me.
Thank you for that. So,
Coach.
Coach.
The lights are so bright in here. Very tough for me.
So, Coach.
Yes, sir.
First conference win on Friday.
Yes, sir.
Friday night against McKendree University.
Yes, sir.
How did that go? How do you think the team played? It was a five-setter, really long, really grueling match for us. It ended up being 19-17 in the fifth. So even going extra points into the fifth. So all the fans got exactly what they paid for, I think.
It was a great match, that's for sure. I thought we competed really, really hard. And it was probably, and that's coming off the week before when we played very well against George Mason University and had beaten NHIT then the next night. I thought we played with a lot of confidence and a lot of passion, and we were very competitive against a very, very good McKendree team. They are tremendously athletic, quick, very talented young men from that university, and I thought we competed very, very hard. The bad thing is I thought we could have been done in four sets, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
We had a good lead in the fourth set and got a little bit of complacency set in for us. But overall, I thought it was a really, really good night. In particular, it was a great night for Graydon Schrader in the middle, who went 17-0-21 for an 810 hitting percentage.
Yeah, and that's
stupidity.
It's a school record for a minimum of 15 attempts. So there's been higher hitting percentages hit for less than 15 attempts. I think from 10 and over, that there has been higher, but with 15 attempts or more, Graydon Schrader now has that record for the Fort Wayne men's volleyball team as a single match hitting percentage record.
And that record is for the rally score era. Because what's so interesting is I once held the record at 17-0-20 at Ohio State, which is an 850 hitting percentage. But that was during the side-out era. And I still think it's harder in the side-out area as opposed to the rally score era. But I think there are limited opportunities in the rally score era, depending. Mm-hmm. But matches are still 2 hours long. You're still playing long. No matter what, it was an unbelievable night for Graydon Schrader. I'll tell you that right now.
I think in regards to that, I think in the side-out era, I think the opportunities for middle hitters, sometimes stay around the same.
Yeah.
But the opportunities for the pin hitters have actually gone down, I think, and that's because the big point-scoring situations, there's not as many of them, right? In the side-out scoring era, games could be 14-14, 15-15 for a long period of time, and you're still trying to get the ball up to your big guns, your studs on the pins. Yeah. But in the rally scoring area, those big key pressure points are very much more minimal. There's a lot less of them. Yeah. And I think that's why you see the numbers and the pins go down, but the middles kind of stay around the same for the attempts that they get. And we won the first, the third, and the fifth set. And we had really competitive second set, and they're losing 23-25. I said to our guys on the bench, I think if we can get this second set over with, I think we had a chance to win in 3. I think that McKendree team, as athletic as they are, and they actually have some very good volleyball players now, some very experienced volleyball players in their gym. I think they were kind of ready to maybe fold up the shop a little bit if we could have gotten onto them that second set. But they really turned it on towards the end of the second set, got us under some pressure, and we couldn't respond. And that's how I knew it was going to be a dogfight the rest of the match, is when they responded in that second set.
Well, it was a tough week for us because if you recall, several of our volleyball players were out with the flu. So that didn't help the cause any.
Yeah, we had 7 guys at practice on Wednesday, I feel like.
And when you play a long, drawn-out volleyball match, 5 sets over 2 hours of high-level competition, it took its toll on us, no doubt about it. Guys were kind of dying at the end of the 4 set. Also, to your point, since we won sets 1, 3, and 5, the team that occupied the north side of the court won. And I'm superstitious that way, so that helps.
Well, we did it the right way this time. We talked about starting on one. You want to end on the hot side. We talked about that, right? Last time we were calling a women's game, we talked about maybe you want to start on the hot side. And actually, IPFW lost. They started on the hot side, finished on the cold side, and they lost that match on the women's side. This time, we were smart enough to learn from that situation to end on the hot side, and I think that's what won it for us.
Well, thankfully, on the side change, we were up 8-7, so at least we took the lead over onto the good side. But overall, it was a really good match against McKendree. I thought we served well. We were able to handle the ball. We really did some really nice things with our offense, Michael Keegan, not just with Graydon. I mean, as a team, we hit nearly 400 as a team. We got really good production out of Richie Dietrich, our other middle. And I was really pleased overall with our performance Friday night. And
it's a really big win as it comes down to the conference standings as we go late into the year. McKendree was picked to finish 5th in the MIVA. We were picked to finish 7th in the MIVA. Relatively close there. That match could mean a lot coming down to the postseason rankings by the time we go to the playoffs. And then let's talk a little bit about the match on Saturday. We brought in the #1 team in the nation, Ohio State, to the Gates Sports Center at Arnie Ball Court. I think you talked a little bit about how that we got tired going into the 5th set, and really at the end of the 4th set, we got tired with some of our pin hitters and the amount of swings they were taking. And I think that it made a lot of difference in that Ohio State match. I think we were a step slow throughout that entire match on Saturday.
Well, and you can't be against the best team in the country. Ohio State's the #1 team for a reason. And I'm not out to praise them above and beyond what they already are, but they are far and away the best team in the country. They can serve and pass better than anybody else. They have the 2 best players in the country as far as I'm concerned, and Nicolas Serzens from France and Miles Johnson from California. I think they are. I think they're greatly coached with Pete Hansen, who's a Hall of Famer and has won already a national title before. They're so well balanced, and the quality of ball that comes at you off the service line, #1, is hard with heat. But #2 is any situation that they bring at you, they are pressurizing you. And it was a tough challenge. I thought we competed much better in the 3rd set than we did the first 2. But they can really scare you into playing bad volleyball, and that's what happened the first 2 sets.
They have some very special players like you talked about, and I think they created some matchup problems for us throughout the match. Their ability to dig balls and transition them, set, attack, and kill on that first swing, I think was something special that we're not going to see again from very many volleyball teams. Their ability to dig, set, and score off their first opportunity kind of really set them apart throughout the match. So coming up here, we'll visit with sophomore libero and setter Max Hansen from very own Fort Wayne, Indiana. We'll see you after the commercial break.
I specialize in homelessness, drug use, and qualitative research methods. I mostly studied desistance from crime and deviance, so a lot of people have studied why people start committing crimes, and that's been an interesting topic and researched pretty well. But I've always wondered, when you want to change or you can change your life, how do you do that? So why and how people quit.
Welcome back, everybody, to VolleyDons Weekly. I'm your host, JW Kiekefer, and with me we have sophomore setter, libero, utility, everything, Max Hansen.
Yeah, you can say that, I guess. I do a little bit of everything, yeah.
Started off setting for us all of last year, and then in the fall of this year, we kind of transitioned you from the setting position over to the libero position. You played a lot of setter in high school and in club, correct, with the Team Pineapple. What else did you play kind of growing up that maybe has set you up to be able to play libero for us here the last couple of months?
Hard to say. I've done a little bit of everything when I first started playing, so I wasn't quite sure what I was going to start playing. So LJ, or Lauren Jeber, my coach, kind of taught me a little bit of everything, and then I kind of found my way towards setting a little bit, kind of like really moved towards that more, kind of liked it a little bit more. But in practice, we always worked with passing the ball because LJ was always about playing defense, making sure the first pass is great. So then from there, I think I kind of learned a little bit of that skill set there.
The passing, defensive skill set that you use as a libero right now?
Yeah, plus as a setter, you need to have both. So I think that kind of helped transition into that a lot.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know out there, Lauren Giebert is the first All-American from IPFW from the men's volleyball team. And a lot of the alumni kind of feel like he's almost the godfather, if you will. He's the guy that everybody respects out there, especially from our alumni group. So somebody who's meant a lot to our program and also a lot to Max's development throughout his career. And somebody who we trust when he goes, yeah, I think this kid can play at our level, at Division I level. That's someone who Coach Rock and myself, we trust and know that he knows what he's talking about. So being a local kid, Max, we only have one other person who's local, Tony Price. Both of those have come highly recommended from LJ and the rest of the Team Pineapple staff of Loy Ball and Jorge Rolat and all those other guys out there who you've worked with for club. Yeah. How was that coming up under some of, like, you know, the IPFW men's volleyball, like, greats, if you will, some of those people who we view as being some of the best out of our program?
It's kind of like nervous a little bit at first because like you have all these people coaching you and you're like, wow, these people are great. Like Loy Ball, an Olympic athlete, you're like, wow, like I'm being coached. Like you're excited at first, but you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know if he's gonna yell at me or whatever or anything like that. So kind of nerve-wracking when you first like work with someone like that. But I feel like just working with him in general or anyone, all the other All-Americans or anyone else, like it's just good quality like advice that they give you. And I think it kind of helped me build a little bit of confidence getting into the program here. It's just what I needed basically to survive, you could say.
The next question I had for you kind of related to that is, do you think it kind of gave you some advantage coming into our gym? I know, Coach Ball has been coaching at IPFW for the men's volleyball team for 30 years, and we've been running the same type of systems, the same type of sets for forever. And Coach Rock, having coached and played here at IPFW, has continued a lot of those type of philosophies about the game and different ways to view the game. So do you think it gave you an advantage coming basically almost from the system into the same system later on at Division I level?
You could say a little bit of one. I mean, everyone has like a different playing style and everything like that, and that's why we all get recruited for like how we are. But yeah, I'd definitely say it gave me an advantage. I kind of learned from him a little bit, and Lauren obviously knows Arnie pretty well, so he kind of gave me the advice as to like what to take for what skill level and like things like that kind of like helped me out. So
yeah. So what do you think about the position change? Do you like playing libero now? Did you like playing setter more? Do you think you fit better into one or the other?
I really like playing libero now. I'm someone who like gets really mad at themselves when they play. Like I really like to push myself. Everyone knows me from being angry with that, like basically myself. Libero, I feel like I don't get as mad, but recently I've been kind of like toning it down a little bit. It's just not as stressful, you could say.
From a like getting to touch the ball over type of moment, or just do you think stress in relation to like what you put on yourself? It's just a different position, so you feel different about playing each position.
It's a little different. Setter, you have the second ball to yourself. Like you have to get it. So if you mess that up, then it's like, well, you messed up the third contact that you have.
Yeah.
Like libero, I mean, it's just as important, that first contact, but I don't know. I just don't feel like as much pressure on myself. Like, not saying it's okay to mess up, which I know it isn't, but it's just not as hard I'm just not as hard as on myself.
You're a little more relaxed in that role.
That
you kind of can let your team help you out a little bit more in that sense, and you're not as negative maybe because of a missed opportunity as you might be when you're setting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, it's been interesting. I know that Coach Rock and myself really think you have a really, really good platform. I played libero here at IPFW a couple years ago, and watching you do your first couple of reps in serve receive as we decided to make that change, it's something that you really usually takes a long time to teach somebody the type of platform that you came into that position with, and I think that has a lot to do with the type of coaching you got in the club level, but also just your background in volleyball and how long you've been around the game. You really try to study it and look at different people playing, and I think that's something that's really helped you moving forward at the libero position is your platform I didn't need to go and coach you on your platform. I just let you go do it. And we talked about some other things with your footwork. I know Beth has helped you a lot with different footwork stuff and reading the game. Do you think you came in with any kind of advantage with your background and from LJ and stuff like that, just for the libero position by itself?
Honestly, I don't. You've talked to me a little bit about my platform, and you've said that it's decent.
Yeah.
I don't like to give myself a whole bunch of credit or anything like that, but honestly don't think. I thought I was just not going to do that well. I mean, there were some moments I surprised myself, honestly, where I've been like, wow, I can't believe I can do that. But other times it's like, wow, I can't believe I still do this with like moving my feet. And I mean, there's always room for improvement.
Yeah.
And I know I need to work on a lot of things still. But I don't know. There's a lot of things to be worked on still.
Well, anytime you do something new, I think it's always tough to make that adjustment, and especially from the position of setter, where you get to touch the ball every second contact, the position of libero. I always tell the younger liberos that I coach when I do USA camps and different college camps is that the other team's job is to keep the ball away from you, right? You're not supposed to touch the ball as many times as you do. So when you do get those touches, they're kind of little wins for you, because the other team is messing up just by letting you touch the ball. So you're doing a good job just by even getting in an area to touch the ball and making a good contact. And I think that's something that really can kind of build your confidence, knowing that, if I get to make a good touch, it's the other team is almost screwing up and I'm doing just a great job by even touching the ball. So that's a good mentality, I think, that a lot of people go in with. Talk about a little bit about growing up in Fort Wayne and it being, a lot of our guys come from outside of Fort Wayne. Talk about maybe the differences in maybe the chemistry with the guys, or just maybe growing up in the community and seeing this program develop over the years as you've been in volleyball.
Well, I didn't really start volleyball until I was about 15 years old, and at that point, I mean, there's really not a lot of high school here in Fort Wayne, and I kind of grew up with volleyball, watching my sister play, and she kind of got me started with that. But I mean, she would want to come to watch the men's volleyball games too. So then that's how I started watching the program here, and then watch it develop as I get older, understanding things and watching everything progress. So that being said, it's kind of got me more into it. And then as a chemistry with the team, I think we kind of all kicked it off right away. Our guys are just a great group of guys. We kind of all get involved with everything, and playing wise with them, I think we can be hard on each other, but I think we can push each other even more than what we do now. But as collectively, I think we're still a good team.
If you had to choose right now, setter, libero, no input from Rock and I. If no input from Rock and I, you get to choose where you want to
go. I'd probably say libero.
Yeah? Why?
Like I kind of said, I don't hate myself as much when I'm in that position.
You feel more comfortable in that position.
I feel like I could learn a lot more in that position.
Yeah.
There's more to learn from it, and I can be better at that, I feel than setting.
Yeah, I think you've done a really good job transitioning into that role. And being a serve sub for us last year, you've come in off the bench, put a serve in the court, laid in some sets for the middles, and also played some defense. I think that's kind of almost helped prepare you for the switch, if you will, and gotten you ready for the switch.
Yeah, I just feel plus after I serve, I know I have to play defense, so I kind of that mindset, like you were talking about, kind of really helps me get in a zone, you could say, to play.
You got kind of thrust into that position pretty quick your freshman year.
Yeah, you could say that.
Yeah. I know the first weekend you traveled, all of a sudden you came off the bench against McKendree and rattled off a couple of points, and the guys will never let you forget that moment. I'm sure you'll never forget that moment, because it was a really special one for you and our team there at McKendree. So coming up next, we'll visit with head coach Ryan Rock Parat, and we'll talk about our 2 matches against Ball State this week. Quick thanks to Max Hansen and for everything he does for our program and for being such a good sport with me today. So come on back after the commercial break.
Indiana University, Purdue University, Fort Wayne, a crossroads of creativity, a campus where streams of thought and knowledge converge, creative minds working together, sharing ideas, expanding human knowledge, and shaping the future. We forge partnerships that inspire our community and strengthen our region. Our scholars, students, and researchers create work that resonates around the world. This is today's IPFW. This is the Don Difference.
Welcome back, everybody, to VolleyDons Weekly. I'm your host, J.W. Keycafer. With me, joining us again, is head coach Ryan Rock Parat for our 3rd segment. And a really quick thank you to our last sponsors, Elko, Active Ankle Asics, Glenbrook Dodge, and the Hyatt Place. Coach Rock. Max Hansen is really a special kid for us. He's really, really hard on himself, and he talked a little bit about that while he was sitting here. But he does some really good things for our program, and is just a really, really good kid. Really, really good kid.
Well, he's a 21st century scholarship athlete, so that tells you about the kind of academic prowess he carries. Number 2 is the fact that he's studying dental hygiene. That's why my teeth are so good regularly with Max. Number 3 is the jack of all trades when it comes to volleyball. He set for us, or was in the setting role a year ago, and I had to move him over to the libero spot this year, where he's gotten, I think, significantly better, and it's exactly what he talked about. I think he's more relaxed now. He doesn't feel the pressure of the world on his shoulders as a setter, as opposed to the libero, and, and he can just go and play without thinking the game. And he's a very, very special young man, and we're very, very lucky to have him in our program.
Yeah, I think that Max has done a really good job, and he talked about how he's been hard on himself in the setting role, and we kind of put him into that serve sub role last year, not knowing what we were going to get out of him because he was a setter and didn't practice a whole ton of defense like the liberos do now. But he came in and made a big impact his first match that one time at McKendree last year, coming off the bench.
He won the 4-set by himself.
Scored like 5 or 6 points in and off his serve. So, he's kind of come into his own in that serve sub role. We'll use him sparingly throughout the year. But also he's really come into his own in the libero role. And when you first approached me about, thinking about how well he could fit at the libero role, it was kind of the first time I thought about it, and the more you see it and the more you think about it, his platform is actually really good. Like it's something that you kind of usually have to teach kids how good his platform is. So it was really kind of cool, a seamless transition almost into that libero role. A couple of more technique stuff he has to work on, but like I said, it's easy to coach a kid when they have such a good platform at the libero spot, and he's done a really good job at working at that.
One of the things I've known for quite some time, being around former coach Arnie Ball, is that people can play volleyball and move them where you think is the best asset and most beneficial to your team. And I thought with a backup setter, Gabriel being a senior, I just thought it would be a nice move to move Max in a spot where he can contribute to the team, and he has been.
And he's done a really good job with it. So this week we play Ball State twice, once on Tuesday and coming up on Friday at home on Arnie Ball Court. Big, really special match for us on Friday with all the different festivities we have going on. Do you want to talk about both of those?
Well, it came together, that rivalry week is what I'm calling it. And believe it or not, it's actually going to be moving forward in our scheduling for years to come. But to play Ball State twice in a week is a very, very tough task. Tonight's match, going to Muncie, it's a difficult place to play. They're a very nice team. I think they're the most improved team in our conference.
Yeah.
I said that back in September when I first saw them. I thought they're the most improved team in our conference. They're an older group. They only start 1 freshman. They have 3 seniors, 2 juniors. And they're a very nice team. Discipline, ball control. They gave Ohio State a run for their money a week ago. So I'm very, very impressed with what they're doing down there at Ball State. Then we play Friday, and Friday's a very special night because we're honoring, before the match, we're going to honor the 2007 IPFW men's volleyball team, the team that made the finals in 2007 in the national title game against the University of California at Irvine. They will be honored and inducted into the Hall of Fame here. And then in between sets 2 and 3, Raul Papaleo, a former player from 1990 to 1993, who was an All-American as well as an Olympian.
And MIVA Player of the Year.
And MIVA Player of the Year, I think 2 times over, will be having his jersey retired here at the Gate Sports Center to join Lisa Miller, the great basketball player of the late 80s, early 90s, and Loy Ball. So there's so much going on, so much hoopla. There'll be a big crowd, a lot of alums. I mean, there's going to be so much stuff, and it's homecoming week.
Yeah, in the middle of homecoming week, all of it together in the middle of homecoming week.
Yeah, so there's going to be a lot of added, I guess, distractions, if you will, to the contest on Friday. But hopefully the environment will help produce quality volleyball on our end.
Yeah, I think you talked about the prowess that Ball State has this year, and they're always a very good volleyball team, and it's something that is the reason why we've been able to have a rivalry with them for so long. Part of it is Coach Ball played down there for the Cardinals back when he was a player, and then came back and started our own program up here. And I think part of it also has to do with being so close, just down I-69, the closeness of that rivalry and kind of the fierceness of that rivalry. We haven't had the most success within that rivalry, but I think we can start turning it around with this week. If we can get 2 wins this week and kind of put some pressure on them, it can kind of change the momentum of what maybe Ball State has on us. Because right now we haven't been as successful against that team as we have against other teams. I know we've won some matches against Lewis and Loyola and Ohio State in the past, and then Ball State just always seems to give us fits. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with their ball control, number one. We beat them 2 years ago in Coach Ball's last year as coach. We beat them here at home. Last year, we won the opening set here at home and then lost the next 3. They're a physical team. They're bigger than we are. They have good ball control, and they're disciplined. We're not at that stage yet because we're still young, relatively young, freshmen and sophomores. I think that's a good portion of it. I don't think it has anything to do with mystique or anything of that nature. I just think it comes down to the execution factor. You know, we played them a couple times in the fall. Both teams know each other very, very well. So it's not like secrets are going to be coming out of the woodwork tonight. But I just think it comes down to the execution factor. I think Ball State on their end has a lot of confidence saying, hey, we've owned this rivalry or owned this matchup for quite some time. We're good. Let's just continue to do the things that they are doing. For us, we're trying to find answers in regards to trying to get over the hump because, well, obviously, it takes 3 sets and not 1 to beat a team.
Yeah, and we often talk about kind of the different system stuff that Ball State usually brings to this volleyball match and kind of the different system stuff that we do as a volleyball program and how they differ a whole ton, and especially during Coach Ball's tenure alongside Coach Walton's tenure at Ball State. The 2 systems that they really preach and they coach are very, very different. And I think while you have changed a couple of things with the systems that we play with, they're still very similar to what Coach Ball used to run here at this program. You want to talk a little bit about how those systems clash and maybe why Ball State tends to get the better of our system maybe more often than not?
Well, Ball State is unorthodox in the sense that they are they provide you with some junk.
Yeah.
A lot of change-ups, things that you're not used to seeing. In the men's game, it's traditional power.
Yeah.
You bring the heat from the service line. When you attack the ball,
Yeah.
you bring the heat. Well, they mix it up. They prefer doing a lot of off-speed stuff, a lot of tipping
Yeah.
and rolling that most teams aren't used to seeing on a regular basis.
It's a different
because they're
brand
so
of
dug
volleyball.
in. And that has caused you fits because when you practice against that on a daily basis
Yeah.
to bring the heat, you never expect. And all of a sudden, here's the one team. Now they're starting, and so you're not ready for it. The other part is they serve short.
Yeah.
And that's something that most teams don't do anymore because a lot of people want to go back to the service line. Again, they're a very nice coach team. They're very disciplined. They got some really good athletes. It should be a good contest if we can play the way that we're capable of playing, which is faster, down your throat volleyball.
And Coach Pratt gave everybody a really good preview of the match to come, both Tuesday night, we're taping this Tuesday afternoon, and Friday night at the Gate Sports Center in Arnie Ball Court. Hope to see you all there at 7 p.m. on Friday against Ball State. We'll see you all next time, and as Coach Frank used to say, get your serves in. See you soon.